go ahead and move forward. All right. So with your elbow partner, you're going to read paragraphs 1 and 2 of the Telltale Heart. Partner A is the one that's closest to the door, will read paragraph 1. Partner 2 is going to read paragraph 2. While you're reading, you are going to annotate how the author develops the central ideas of madness and obsession. If I were you, I would underline the evidence that proves that the central idea of madness, and maybe I'd put 2 lines under the ones that prove that he is obsessed with something, okay? Just differentiate between the 2 so that you know which ones develop the idea that he's obsessed and which ideas develop the word that he is mad. Go ahead and start reading.
I heard all things in the heaven and on earth. I heard many things in hell, all day and all day. Hearken and observe how calmly I can tell you the whole story.
It is possible to say how first the idea into my brain from once conceived, and hunted me day and night. Object there was none. Passion there was none. I loved no man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me power. For his goal, I had no desire. I think it was desire, yes. It was this. He had the eyes of hell.
Everywhere he looked, he see his eyes and he checked out. Yeah, like he had choke. He was
You guys, I'm going to give you 45 more seconds before we come back whole class. Do you guys have any evidence to prove that Leo is obsessed?
Yes. We have like a nose.
Okay. That this one right here is about piece of evidence. And I asked for a piece of evidence to prove that he's obsessed.
You know how you made your age?
Did you guys find any evidence to prove that he's mad? Where? What about in here? Was there any evidence in here? There wasn't? What about when he was here? Can you underline that? That is a characteristic of an insane person, right? Kadeja, when I asked for proof of how he was insane, will you share that out? Okay. All right, we're going to come back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, how does the author Poe develop the central ideas of madness and obsession in this excerpt? If you have any evidence to prove how the narrator was mad or insane, please raise your hand. Nikia?
Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold, and so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself to the after.
So what part of that proves he's insane?
He's saying
he talks about he would rather, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man and thus rid myself of the I forever. How does that prove he's insane? One.
And in my opinion, the fact that he
Like that sentence, right?
rather kill someone just because of their eye, that's already mad right there.
That's pretty insane, right? Good indicator. He said, and can you repeat what he said, Marquez? Can you repeat what Juan said? Can you tell him one more time?
In my opinion, the fact that he would rather take someone's life just because of an eye, that's mad right there.
He said, in his opinion, that he want to take somebody because of his eye. That's mad right there.
I'm sorry. Tell me one more time.
He said, in his opinion, that he want to take somebody life because of eye. That's mad right there.
That proves that he's insane, right? Kadeja, did you have another piece of evidence that proves that he's insane?
The first paragraph, when he said, above all was the sense of hearing acute.
Okay, and he said that he could hear what?
He said he was hearing things.
He could hear all things, right?
The heaven-
Why would that prove that he's insane?
Because everybody can have acute hearing like that, and the only time like you being insane like that is because like your hearing be really acute and your eyesight, you think you see things and you hear things.
So she's saying that he's indicating that he's hearing things, right? That's something that we would say was a characteristic of an insane person. Good job. Now for obsession. First of all, as a class, tell me what he's obsessed with.
His
The
eye.
man's eye, right? The other guy's eye. Jayla, share out a piece of evidence to prove that he's obsessed with the eye.
For his gold, I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this.
So he says his eye is what he's obsessed with. Do you have anything else to add? Terry.
It is impossible to say how first I did into my brain, but once conceived, it haunts me day and night.
This eye haunted him day and night. Also in there, he mentions that whole second paragraph, he keeps talking about the eye. If you keep talking about something, it proves what about you? You're kind of obsessed, right? And then Terry shared out, he's even feeling like this eye is haunting him. Okay, we're going to move forward and do a couple of class discussion TDQs. When I say go, you're going to only need about 15 seconds for this. You're going to discuss with your elbow partner what the narrator says is true in paragraph 1. What is true in paragraph 1 according to the narrator? And discuss.
I think I'm talking about when you say you're mad, it's true, it's that he is nervous, but that he does not know. Very, very
What is true?
True. Okay. True is part of the narrative. No.
All right, come back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sabitu is going to share with the class what is true in paragraph 1, and after she shares it, I'm going to have Gina repeat it. Go ahead, Sabitu. What's true? It was true that he was, say it again, nervous. It was true that he was what? Nervous. Good. Number 2, what does the narrator tell the reader to do? This is also in the first paragraph. Take about 15 seconds to discuss with your neighbor what the narrator asks the reader to do. Go. All right, come back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Andrea, what does the narrator tell the reader to do?
He tells the narrator to listen and to hear them out.
To listen and hear him out. Can you repeat that for me, Kevin?
He said that
tells the reader to listen and hear him out.
He wants the reader to listen and hear him out, right? He says, hearken, listen up. I'm going to prove to you right now that I'm not crazy. Okay? These next 3 questions I'm just going to call on a volunteer for. What haunted the narrator? Raise your hand and tell me. Nikia?
His eye.
His eye. What haunted the narrator, Janet? What haunted the narrator, Abby?
His eye.
The eye of who?
The old man.
The old man, right? How does the narrator feel about the old man?
He feels that every time the old man looks at him, his eye just be up on him, like it irritates him.
His eye irritates him, but what does he feel personally about the old man, Kadeja?
He don't got nothing against the old man. Like, he don't want his money. He don't dislike him or nothing. He just don't like his eye.
Right. He loves the old man, he just dislikes his eye, correct?
His eye irritates him.
His eye does irritate him, obviously.
Excuse me, Miss Claudia.
Yes,
Do you have Andrea Flores?
I do.
Could you send him to the office for dismissal?
Yes. For dismissal. You go ahead and put your book up and you'll get it tomorrow. You're at work Friday. Okay. And then, lastly, how does the narrator describe the old man's eye? Brianna? Pale and blue like a vulture. How is it, Kimberly? Pale and blue like a vulture. Okay. Oh. And how does the eye affect the narrator? We already kind of talked about that. Jayla, say it again one more time. How does the eye affect the narrator?
It irritates him.
How you feel about the eye?
Oh, it irritates him.
It irritates him. When he looks on it, his blood turns cold, he says, right? Okay. Miss Jayla, or Jada, is passing out worksheets to all of you. Abby is sitting silently. Brianna's waiting. Okay. When you get the worksheet, I'm going to model to you how I expect you to answer these questions. When we answer TDQs, someone raise their hand and tell me what format we answer TDQs in. Abby.
Answer, cite evidence, and explanation.
Yep. Answer, cite, and explanation in ACE format, correct? In order for us to fully answer a question, we have to be able to understand the question. Are we agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So, the first question that I'm going to model to you, it's up on top of your sheet of paper. It says, what distinction is the narrator making between nervous and mad? So, when I see that question, first I have to think, what is distinction? Right? Do you guys know what distinction is?
No.
Can you say that out loud?
Different.
Difference. What is it, Yadira?
Different.
The difference. So I have to figure out what the difference the narrator is making between nervous and mad. How is he separating these? How is he making these opposing characteristics of him? So then I have to go back to my text. I know he was talking about nervous in the first paragraph, so I look back at the first paragraph. Has everyone got their books open? I see that he admits that he is nervous. True, I'm nervous. I had been and am. Then he says, but why will you say that I'm mad? So I already know he's admitting to being nervous. He's not going to admit to the fact that he's insane. So I'm going to put that answer in what type of language? Yes, in ACE, but when I do the A portion, what language do I use?
Answer.
You answer it, but do I directly quote it?
No.
No, I do what instead? Paraphrase it. I put it in my own words. So what I said was the narrator, and you guys can copy this down, the narrator accepts the truth that he is nervous, but he questions the suggestion that he is mad. Go ahead and write that. Everyone's on task. After I answer my question, what's the next step?
Such an evidence.
I decide my evidence. So I need to look back through that first paragraph and find the strongest piece of evidence to support my answer. So I'm going to use a couple direct quotes from the first paragraph. I said, in paragraph 1, the author says, and I quoted, that he is dreadfully nervous, but questions why anyone would assume that he is, and once again in quotes, mad. Because that's the narrator's words, not mine, right? And that gives a direct piece of evidence to support what I came up with my answer. Citation here. After I cite my evidence, what's the next step? Can really say that real nice and loud.
Explain how your evidence supports your answer.
So I need to explain how my evidence supports my answer. My explanation is to prove that my evidence truly does support my answer. So my explanation is this develops the idea that the narrator feels that it is more acceptable to be nervous than insane. Do you all agree with that as an adequate explanation?
Yes.
If you agree, put your thumbs up. Anyone disagree? Okay. So my explanation just goes to prove to my reader that I completely understand the question and that I know how to answer it fully. It's just a little piece of analysis of my own analysis of the evidence given. Once you're finished with all of that, I do need you to put your pencil down so I know it's time to move on. For those of you who are finished, I'm just going to tell you we're going to go down to number 3, and that's the one we're going to do together as a class. So if you want to go ahead and start looking at number 3 so that you have something to contribute. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. Seconds. Okay. Someone volunteer to read out that third question that we're going to do together. Go ahead, Delia.
Why does the narrator use the word
Helpfully.
describe it?
Okay. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to discuss with one another before we come to a class and come to a consensus. Why does he use calmly and healthily when describing to his reader how he's going to tell the story? What's he trying to prove? Okay, let's come back together. the narrator choose the words calmly and healthily when describing how he's going to tell the story? Abby's going to add a contribute, then Terry and Juan. Okay.
He's trying to prove that he's not insane.
He's using these words to prove to his reader that he's not insane. What were you going to say, Juan?
I agree with her. That's what I had in mind.
You agree with Abby? Does anyone else have anything to add to that? If you disagree with Abby, put your hand in the air. Okay, so we're going to put that in our words. He's trying to prove that he's well enough to tell the story and that he's not insane. The narrator uses these words to prove, is he proving, Abby?
He's not insane.
That he is not insane
And he's well enough to tell the story.
and he is well enough to tell the story. I think that works. Are you writing for me? Number 3. Once you finish writing that, someone start looking for the direct evidence that we can cite. Will you share that out with the class? You can paraphrase the evidence too. All right, we're going to come back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Somebody's going to share out a piece of evidence that supports this answer. Remember, we can also put our evidence in our own words. We can paraphrase it as long as we refer back to the text. What piece of evidence do you want to use, Kadeja?
In paragraph 1, he explained how he wanted them to believe that he was telling it calmly and healthily.
In paragraph 1, he wanted the audience to listen to him do what?
To listen to him tell the story.
Tell the story how?
Calmly and healthily.
Calmly and healthily. And I'm going to put those in quotes because they came directly from the text. And while we're at it, how does that evidence support our answer? This example explains that, or this develops the idea that what?
He's trying to get his point across that he's not insane.
He's trying to basically convince his audience that he's not insane, right? So you said point across. This proves that the narrator is trying to get the point across that he is not insane. Good job. Once you are finished copying that down, you're going to work in your partners to answer the next 2 questions before working independently on your exit ticket. When everyone's finished writing this down, you'll have 10 minutes to answer the next 2 questions with your partner.